In spite of our best intentions, the majority of recyclables still end up in landfills. About 1,000 pounds per American per year are left in landfills, never to be recovered. The problem is obvious, but what if I told you the answer may be closer than you think? In the small community of Troy, outside of Charlottesville, Virginia. Here, Linde Recycling is revolutionizing the separation process, harvesting more recyclables than previously thought was possible, substantially reducing the amount of materials that reach the landfill, leaving environmental impact at a minimum. Let me introduce you to the Materials Recovery Facility, one of 2 recycling facilities on Linde's campus. So how does it all work? The average person or business disposes of their garbage as they would usual. Your chosen hauler drops it off at the facility rather than a landfill. Here the initial screening process takes place, looking for things such as mattresses, propane tanks, and acid-based batteries that cannot be processed through the machine. The harvesting process begins at the bag shredder, where bags are broken open to expose the potential recyclables inside. In stark contrast to a landfill, the materials don't just sit there, they move. The contents of the bags are quickly moved to the pre-sort line. While traveling down the pre-sort belt, the contents are combed for non-recyclables that may have been contained in the bags, while some employees are tasked to look for obvious recyclables that are dropped into the bins below. The now combed material moves up a conveyor belt to a secondary pre-sort line. On the second pre-sort line, materials are once again looked over for any non-recyclables as well as anything that might damage the machine, such as garden hoses or electric cords. From here, it enters the trommel. The trommel serves several purposes, including breaking up any large material or bags that have made it this far in the process. And more importantly, this is where smaller fine material and organics are separated from the batch. The smaller materials fall through the small grates in the trommel. The recyclables move onward and upward to the next phase of the process, the cardboard separator. The heavier and larger cardboard is pulled up. The large gaps allow smaller paper, plastic, metal, and glass to fall through to another conveyor belt. The glass, plastic, and metal move on, while the large majority of paper is separated and sent to bale at this fiber screener, which uses an innovative blowing process. The remaining recyclables move up yet another conveyor belt to the sort line. During the first phase of the sort line, plastic bags and paper products are hand-separated and placed into vacuum tubes. This complex yet simple vacuum system allows all the materials to end up in their rightful bin. Next comes the ferrous metal magnet. Ferrous metals, or magnetic metals like iron and tin, are separated from the batch in a blink of an eye. The remaining materials move up a small conveyor belt to an optical sorter. This amazing machine within the machine recognizes different types of plastic and separates them at lightning speed. Now all we have left is the aluminum and a little residual. Aluminum is separated by the eddy current machine. This machine makes the aluminum essentially hop over into its proper bin, while the residuals fall onto another conveyor belt to go back through the process once again. So what happens to these materials once separated? When a bin is filled to capacity, such as this plastic bin, the bin is emptied and transported down the line via a large conveyor belt. The contents are moved to the baler, where they are compacted and baled. The entire bin of plastic that would have otherwise ended up in a landfill is now condensed to a relatively small bale. The bales are loaded for transport and sent to the appropriate facility to be repurposed. The facility is equally proficient at separating both mixed waste and source-separated recyclables, and takes in tons of recyclables that may have otherwise ended up in the landfill. All of this to make the world just a little better place for our future.